Am I recording? I don't know if I'm recording.
It sounded like my phone said it.
Oh, okay. Recording is going on. All
Yeah.
right. So we're on text 17. I'll do the Sanskrit and synonyms and translation, and you can start reading the purport. There's a
Okay.
lot of paragraphs. We'll take turns with the purports after I read the Sanskrit and stuff.
Sounds good.
Bhuktikanam cha bhavanam shashti risham chakrit satatkritam ashradadhanam nisatvan durmedan harisitayusha durbagam shajanan vikshya munir divrena chakshusha sarvavarna shramanam yad dadho dadyo hitam amogadrik. Synonyms: Bhoktikanamcha, also of everything that is made of matter, bhavanam, actions, shakti hrishasam, hrashamcha, and deterioration of natural power, tatkritam, rendered by that, ashradadhanam, of the faithless, nishatvam, impatient due to want of the mode of goodness, durmedam, dull-witted, rishita, reduced, ayusha, duration of life, durbhagancha, of also the unlucky, janam, people in general, vrikshya, by seeing, muni, the muni, divyena, by transcendental chakshush vision, sarva, all, varna ashramanam, all the statuses and orders of life, yet what? Dadho, contemplated, hritam, welfare, amogadrik, one who is fully equipped in knowledge. Now he's talking about, this is talking about Vyasadeva, who compiled the Vedas. He could see the impurities and infallibilities of the age of Kali. He could see that with his mind's eye, so he's describing that. The great sage who is fully equipped with in knowledge could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age. He could also see that the faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life and would be impatient due to lack of goodness. Thus, he contemplated for the welfare of men and all statuses and orders of life. Yeah, they're going to be people at the end of this age in another 427,000 years. It's just going to go downhill. This is like a miniature golden age right now that we're living in due to Lord Chaitanya. So for the next 10,000 years, it's going to be really nice, because we'll be able to like float on the holy name, But then after that, everything's going to go downhill, and the people will live to be about 20 or 30, and they will eat their own children at the end of the age. And, then Krishna will come riding on his horse, and he'll take his sword and just kill all the malechas. And that'll be the end of the age, and then a new age will start up, another golden age. So you don't want to stick around for that,
No.
This is really the worst age, People are, this is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. People are characterized by being quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Actually, Thoreau, I used to read Thoreau when I was in high school. He said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. People are impatient due to lack of goodness. Patience is actually a very good quality. It's actually a symptom of surrender. That's one of our kind of mottos, patience is the symptom of surrender. So if you're actually a surrendered soul, you'll be patient, but otherwise you want something for yourself, you're not going to be that patient. You want everything. That's the sickness of the Americans. They want everything like yesterday.
Yeah.
That's why they have Amazon, so you can like get to everything delivered right away, the next day. But anyway, so go ahead and read the first paragraph.
And Prabhupada always said they're working like asses.
Yeah. And also he said, what he said is kind of funny. Work is actually a scam, because there's so many things that we could eat, just growing naturally.
Uh-huh.
So it's just an artificial, you're not depending on human on nature's bounty, but just trying to work hard like an ass. There's grass on both sides of the road like an ass, is being led by a washerman. He's like piles of laundry on the back of the ass's back. And the washerman gives him a carrot in front of her, like, he promises him grass, at the end, but there's grass on both sides of the road. Why would he want to, at the end of the day, after he hauls all that laundry, 60 tons of laundry, he can eat right now, on the side of the grass, but we're asses. So, because we don't know that everything is already available. Everything is already, just like in the Bible, it says, consider the lilies of the field. They toil not, nor do they spin, but Solomon and all his glory is not arrayed like one of these. They don't work that hard. A lily of the field doesn't work, doesn't toil.
No.
And most, like everything, every single living entity is getting what it needs. Like a little ant is getting like a grain of sugar, and an elephant eats like 100 pounds a day. He doesn't have to work for that. It's already naturally available, It's only human beings have produced this whole, like, all you need, you don't need all this industrial enterprise and everything and work hard like an ass. All you need is a little bit of land and a cow and a bull. The cow tills, the bull tills the land, and you produce grains, and the cow gives milk. You can raise a family. Done.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's a simple living and high thinking. People have lived like that in India for thousands and thousands of years, but somehow we've built up this huge thing that's depleting the resources of the earth, and just for our own temporary sense gratification, which is in the Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj calls it Maya Sukhaya. It's like simply working hard to maintain their families and produce so-called happiness, but the Maya Sukhaya that they produce is just, it causes more problems immediately. I mean, they come up with all these inventions, like in the 1800 and something, in the Scientific American magazine, they brought up the automobile, how it'd be so great, and instead of these horses that are so noisy when they're cluttering along the street, with their hooves and everything, and the dung from the horses just causes so much pollution. So the cars with their rubber tires, it would be so quiet, and there wouldn't be any pollution from the cars.
Right.
And so, like now look at it. Now look at the influence. There's just so much pollution. It's killing the earth, and it's not it's noisy as hell. If you've ever been in New York City, there's just constant noise all the time. So instead of ameliorating the problems, all it does is create more problems, because they don't really know how to solve anything. They don't know how to depend on Krishna for everything. Krishna is giving us everything we need.
And he's guiding you to the food if it's not right in front of you with the Paramatma.
Yeah, I mean, my friend David Undapundit, he's a singer-songwriter. He's kind of like a transcendental Bob Dylan. In the late 80s, he wrote this song, "You got more than you need to fill your empty stomach. You got more than you need to get your sleep at night. You got more than you need to get you by until tomorrow. You got more than you need, so why are you so uptight?"
That's a good one.
Yeah, he wrote some awesome songs back then. But
Beautiful.
anyway, okay, let's see. I'll just read the next paragraph. We'll take turns. The
Cool.
great Vyasadeva could see this by his transcendental vision. Only an astrologer can see the future fate of man. I mean, they used to have real astrologers. Now astrologer is a scam, astrology, nobody knows what they're doing. Prabhupada said the last astrologer was his spiritual master. He was actually a scientist in the science of astrology. But there's no such thing as that nowadays, Just get a cookie, and you get a little thing in the piece of paper. I saw one in the Purgatory fortune cookie. He said, "I can't believe you my little tiny house." And that was kind of funny, but it's not going to tell you your future.
No.
Okay, we got 10 minutes left, so we'll try to get maybe a couple verses in.
Okay.
The great sage Vyasadeva could see this by his transcendental vision. As an astrologer can see the future fate of a man, or an astronomer can foretell the solar or lunar eclipses, those liberated souls who can see through the scriptures can foretell the future of all mankind. They can see this due to their sharp vision of spiritual attainment. Go ahead.
And all such transcendentalists who are naturally devotees of the Lord are always eager to render welfare service to the people in general. They are the real friends of the people in general, not the so-called public leaders who are unable to see what's going to happen in 5 minutes ahead. In this age, the people in general, as well as their so-called leaders, are all unlucky fellows, faithless in spiritual knowledge and influenced by the age of Kali. They are always disturbed by various diseases. For example, in the present age, there are so many TB patients in TB hospitals, but formerly this was not so because the time was not so unfavorable. These unfortunate men of this age are always reluctant to give a reception to the transcendentalists who are representatives of Srila Vyasadeva, and selfless workers always busy in planning something which may help everyone in all statuses and orders of life. The greatest philanthropists are those transcendentalists who represent the mission of Vyasa, Narada, Madhva, Chaitanya, Rupa, Saraswati, etc. They are all one and the same. The personalities may be different, but the aim of the mission is one and the same, namely to deliver the fallen souls back to Godhead, back home.
Yeah, that's so important. Like we're all just like members of that group. If you're following in the footsteps of all these great souls, you're doing the same thing. If you're surrendered, if you understand that the goal of life is to surrender to Krishna, and you just repeat that to others and help them surrender too, you're the greatest philanthropist. Not all these so-called leaders, that they call it like blind leading the blind. There's a famous painting, it's a blind man, it's leading other blind men, and they're all falling into a ditch.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what group you're with, if you're a Republican or Democrat, they're all blind. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to solve anything because they have no guidance from transcendental authority. And so what happens when that happens is like you're like a boat on the sea without any rudder or without a sail. What's going to happen to that boat? It's going to end up on the rocks.
Yep.
So the greatest welfare work is to follow in the footsteps of Rupa and Saraswati. All these people, like we're supposed to be Rupa Nugas. Rupa Nuga means follower of Rupa Goswami, and they know the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is the person who inaugurated this Hare Krishna movement and said, okay, all of you be gurus and try to liberate everyone in this land. Just tell them to teach them the instructions of Lord Krishna in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, and in this way become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone. That was his order. No, you're not doing it on your own. You're just doing it on his order. So you don't think you're a big guru or anything. We're just following in the footsteps of all these great souls, but they can do unlimited service because they're all selfless, just like the gopis. They didn't think of themselves when they were serving Krishna. Krishna had a headache once, and he asked, well, the only way I can solve my headache problem is if I get the dust of the feet of a devotee. And so Narada Muni went out to try to find some dust, and everybody refused because they know if you put like the dirt of your feet on the head of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you're going to go to hell. And so everybody just didn't want to do that,
Right.
out of self-interest, but so Rupa Goswami or Narada Muni, he went back to Krishna. He said, well, I couldn't find anybody that would do that. He said, well, did you ask the gopis? And so he went out and asked the gopis, and the gopis said, sure, here's some. He said, you know what's going to happen, right? You go to hell. He said, I don't care. As long as Krishna's headache is fixed, we don't care if we go to hell, So it's like they are so selfless. They only care about Krishna's service. And so that's what it means to be selfless. If you follow, we're supposed to be Gopi Bhartu Padakamalaya dāsa Anudas. We're the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. And we're following in that selfless footsteps of these great souls. And when we do that, we become dear to Krishna. And if you please Srimati Radharani, who is the most selfless gopi, who's very dear to Krishna, then then your life is complete, because Krishna will recommend, oh, well, Radharani will say, you know, you accept this person, and Krishna has to, you know, because Radharani, you know, recommended them, you know. It's like in a marriage, you know, I always do what I want to do because I'm the man of the house, but I always have to ask my wife what it is that I want to do. You
I
know,
like
but you
that.
know, she rules, she controls Krishna. You know, she's Madana Mohana Mohini. Madana
Yeah.
is like the attractor of Cupid. And so she's the attractor of Cupid. So she's so powerful. So if you get the mercy of Radharani, that's why Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, or Srila Prabhupada's father, all these sadhus would come to their house and he would feed them. And he always asked every single one of them, please bless my son that Srimati Radharani will be pleased with him. And I guess it worked because he was Srila Prabhupada. He ended up, you know, opening up personality, you know, he opened up temples all over the world. So it worked.
Beautiful.
He came from a very pious family. And, you know, so we should all try to strive for that. We might only be able to do one verse here. We only got 3.5 minutes left. Do you have any questions about this particular verse?
No, I do not.
Okay, let me see how this is not very long here. Let's just do one more. Chaturhotram karmasudam pragjanam vikshya vaidikam vyadadad vyajna santatyai vedamekam chaturvidam chak 2 4 hotram sacrificial fires, karmasudam purification of work, prajanam of the people in general, vikshya after seeing, vaidikam according to Vedic rites, Vyadadat made into yagya sacrifice, santatyai to expand, vedamekam only one Veda, chaturvidam in 4 divisions. Translation: he saw that the sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas were means by which the people's occupations could be purified, and to simplify the process, he divided the one Veda into 4 in order to expand them among men. See, he divided the Vedas. Yaga Veda, Samaveda, Rig Veda, and Atharva Veda. He put them into 4. But this is the cream of all the Vedas. You can read the purport.
Okay. Formerly, there was only the Veda of the name Yaju, and the 4 divisions of sacrifices were there specifically mentioned. But to make them more easily performable, the Veda was divided into 4 divisions of sacrifice, just to purify the occupational service of the 4 orders. Above the 4 Vedas, namely Rig, Yajus, Sama, and Atharva, there are the Puranas, the Mahabharata, Samhitas, etc., which are known as the 5th Veda. Sri Vyasadeva and his many disciples were all historical personalities, and they were very kind and sympathetic toward the fallen souls of this age of Kali. As such, the Puranas and Mahabharata were made from related historical facts which explain the teachings of the 4 Vedas. There is no point in doubting the authority of the Puranas and Mahabharata as parts and parcels of the Vedas. In the Chandogya Upanishad, the Puranas and the Mahabharata, generally known as histories, are mentioned as the 5th Veda. According to Srila Jayava Goswami, that is the way of ascertaining the respective values of the revealed scriptures.
Okay, yeah. I'm just reading the Padma Purana. There's different Puranas, and some of them are mode of goodness, some of them are mode of passion, some of them mode of ignorance. But Purana, the Padma Purana that I'm reading now, I've got a audiobook mentor. He actually worked for the BBT. He's from Ukraine, and he translated some of Prabhupada's books into Ukrainian and Russian. And so he's like a really knowledgeable personality. He wanted me to read the Padma Purana, because he said he only knew one person in his entire life who had read that whole book. This book has 18,000 verses. The Padma Purana has 55,000.
It's very attractive too. The stories that you've been highlighting out of it look really awesome.
Yeah, there's so many wonderful stories. But anyway, we only got like 0 time left. So thank you for joining.